This is Mac OS Ken.
A bullish-ish note from Wedbush. Bad news, good news, and interesting lines on smartphones. And maybe don't scratch the midnight itch. It is Wednesday, the 20th of July, 2022. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/MacOSKen. This show is also sponsored by SimpliSafe, the right way to protect your home. Fire, flooding, break-ins. Is there any part of your home that leaves you with a bit of worry? SimpliSafe may have a solution. They've got a range of products from cameras to window and door sensors to various hazard sensors to keep an eye on whatever makes you, a little With 24/7 professional monitoring, SimpliSafe's agents take action the moment a threat is detected, sending police or first responders in an emergency, even if you're not there. And it won't break the bank. Monitoring plans are affordably priced at $1 a day with no long-term contract or hidden fees. I like that. I like how easy SimpliSafe is to set up yourself, and I like the fact that they let you build the system that's right for you. You get what you need to make your home feel safe. You can customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/MacOSKen. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. SIMPLI. Go to simplysafe.com/MacOSKen. The stickiness of the iPhone upgrade cycle is still being underestimated by investors, in our opinion. That is the pull quote Apple 3.0 used covering the latest note from Wedbush analyst Daniel Ives. If it sounds familiar, it should. It is something he has said for quite a while. And yet he seems to think that stickiness will help power Apple through the economic storm into which we are all apparently sailing. Quoting his note, the stickiness of the iPhone upgrade cycle is still being underestimated by investors in our opinion, as we estimate that roughly 240 million of Apple's 1 billion iPhones have not been upgraded to a new smartphone in roughly 3.5 years. This importantly speaks to the Apple growth path over the next 12 to 18 months, as iPhone 14 is set to be unveiled in the September timeframe. You know how Bernstein research analyst Tony Sacconaghi keeps talking about how little of Apple's revenue is recurring revenue? Ives seems to think the number of iPhones ripe for an upgrade is recurring revenue. No, it's not annual for each iPhone, but the way he tends to see it, somewhere between 1/3 and 1/4 of 1 billion iPhone owners are always ready to pull the trigger on the next one. Writes Mr. Ives, while the nervous market backdrop is creating a fearful environment for tech stocks, we believe Apple's growth story remains well intact despite the shaky macro. Apple remains our favorite tech name. I sort of skipped past Ives' expectations for Apple's June quarter earnings. That's because Ives sort of skipped past those. He thinks Apple will hit the street's projections, though the $4 billion to $8 billion headwind about which Cook and crew warned on the last call will be a thing for which to watch. That said, the note says, the street is well aware of weakness this quarter, and we believe ultimately is looking past June numbers to the September and December quarters, with all eyes on the iPhone 14 production demand cycle for the fall staying on track. Which brings us back to where we began, the oh-so-sticky iPhone. Mr. Ives has an outperform rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $200. Bad news, good news, and some interesting lines in the smartphone space. Market tracker Canalys brings it all, starting with bad news for the smartphone market in general. it was down last quarter in the firm's estimation. Worldwide smartphone shipments fell 9% year-on-year in the second quarter of 2022, according to a recent Canalys report. They say demand has started to wane following economic headwinds and regional uncertainty. So where's the good news? Well, it's at the top. Both Samsung and Apple saw their global shares grow for the June Q of 22 versus the same quarter a year earlier. First place Samsung grew its share from 18% last year to 21% this year. Second place Apple stayed second, though it too saw growth from 14% in the second quarter of 2021 to an estimated 17% global market share last quarter. Third, fourth, and fifth place Xiaomi, Oppo, and Vivo all saw shares decline year-on-year, according to the firm. As for the interesting lines, they were on one of the Canalys charts. Year-on-year, Xiaomi, Oppo, and Vivo did decline, but from the end of the March quarter to the end of the June quarter, Oppo stayed even, while Xiaomi and Vivo trended up. Maybe that was blocks clearing in the supply chain. Maybe it was an aggressive round of promotions. It seems possible, at least, that people who might have sprung for a pricier phone went lower, #in this economy. The report quotes one analyst indicating that that may have been the thing last quarter and could be for quarters to come. Quoting the analyst, vendors were forced to review their tactics in Q2 as the outlook for the smartphone market became more cautious. Economic headwinds, sluggish demand, and inventory pileup have resulted in vendors rapidly reassessing their portfolio strategies for the rest of this year. The oversupplied mid-range is an exposed segment for vendors to focus on adjusting new launches as budget-constrained consumers shift their device purchases toward the lower end. Keeping an eye on the supply chain and the iPhone 14 is TF International analyst Ming-Chi Kuo. In a series of posts to Twitter, Kuo appeared to be trying to get ahead of a potentially bad story. In the first of 3 posts, the analyst said he'd learned that recently some iPhone 14 panel and memory suppliers have experienced supply issues, but it should have a limited impact on the coming mass production of the iPhone 14, because other suppliers can fill the supply gap. The second post named names on the memory, while the third did the same on displays. Bottom line, while there may be talk of still more trouble in the supply chain, it should not affect iPhone 14 output to a significant degree. Mr. Kuo was busy on Twitter Tuesday, by his standards anyway. In addition to addressing component concerns around iPhone 14, the analysts addressed talk of slowing hiring in Cupertino. Earlier this week, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman posted a piece saying Apple plans to slow hiring and spending for parts of its business to cope with a potential economic downturn. No plans for layoffs mentioned. Additionally, the company still plans to increase pay for retail and support staff, and it is still full steam ahead on an aggressive product launch schedule for 2023. Ming-Chi Kuo seems to have no thoughts on the hiring and spending slowdown, though he did weigh in on the product launch schedule. He posted on Twitter saying, "I'm not surprised to see hiring and spending slow down amid a recession, but my latest channel check indicates, at least currently, no significant changes yet to Apple's hardware development plans for 2023, and the order visibility of equipment remains unchanged, up to 18 to 24 months." Apple is paying for the butterfly effect. Well, it's willing to. A piece from Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company will pay $50 million to settle a 2018 class action lawsuit over the faulty butterfly keyboards that were used in MacBooks between 2015 and 2019. Apple liked the butterfly keyboard because it made the machine thinner and gave the keys a more stable feel. Consumers did not like the butterfly keyboard because it pretty much quit working. I had to have mine replaced. I know one guy who had to have his keyboard replaced 3 times before Apple gave up and finally replaced his whole computer. Geographically, that guy would not be covered by this settlement, though I guess I might be. Then again, maybe I won't, since I didn't actually pay anything to have my machine fixed. Mac Rumors says the settlement covers customers in California, Florida, Illinois, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, and Washington. According to the report, lawyers are expecting maximum payouts of $395 to customers who replaced multiple keyboards, $125 to people who replaced one keyboard, and $50 to people who replaced keycaps. All of that assumes that this deal goes down. The judge overseeing the case still has to approve the settlement. Are scuffs and dings on your hardware badges of honor or ribbons of shame? You may want to consider that question before buying an M2 MacBook Air, specifically the Midnight Edition, it seems. While it is not likely to have a butterfly effect, a piece from my download blog does have people singing the blues over the Midnight Machine. According to the report, YouTuber Marquez Brownlee called the notebook in his review a fingerprint magnet. He says the fingerprints become visible the instant you start using the laptop, adding that it's impossible to keep clean. Perhaps as troubling, depending on who and how you are about such things, the Midnight Machine might scratch like Mixmaster Mike. He's a musician, DJ, does a lot of scratching. Quoting iDownload blog again, the vast majority of reports describe dings and scuffs around the edges of the USB-C ports. Some people also reported scratches on the cover. These nicks are mostly permanent, so if you prefer to keep your gear in pristine condition, you're probably better off picking another color option. I guess the question I have is, how much time do you spend staring at your ports? Zone of Tech posted pics on Twitter of the, worrying wear. No, it doesn't look as good out of the box, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a badge of honor kind of guy. More news in a moment, but first a word from BetterHelp, sponsor of today's show. You get one brain. Kind of stinks, but that's it. You get one brain. It controls everything you do, so taking care of it, probably a good idea. How we care for our minds affects how we experience life, so it's important to keep it healthy. For help, there's BetterHelp. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even text therapy sessions. However you're most comfortable, that is how BetterHelp works. You tell them what kind of counselor you're looking for and what you want to work on, and they look through the thousands of professionals with whom they work to find the right therapist for you. And if they end up not being the right person, changing is easy and does not incur additional cost. Had it happen to me one time. Ended up with a much better BetterHelp fit. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Maybe something feels wrong, but you're not sure what it is. Help is out there. macOS Ken listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/macOSKen. That's betterhelp.com/macOSKen. Get started today at betterhelp.com/macOSKen. News of a potentially troubling suit against Apple. CNET ran a piece earlier this week saying that financial institutions and credit unions that issue payment cards for Apple Pay are suing Apple over Apple Pay. Well, over not being able to make an Apple Pay of their own. According to the report, Apple is facing a class action lawsuit alleging that it has been restricting access to its NFC technology and making billions of dollars in profits as a result. So Apple is accused of business? Not how the plaintiffs see it. Quoting the complaint, Apple exercises its market power in the device markets by requiring that consumers of its mobile devices also acquire its mobile wallet, Apple Pay, and prevents consumers from using competing mobile wallets capable of offering competing tap and pay solutions. By comparison, the suit says, Google does not restrict access to Android NFC technology, enabling multiple competing wallet apps to exist. Being the only game in town, where the game is Apple Pay and town in this case means iPhone, Apple is able to charge money for its payments processed. That's up to $1 billion a year that financial institutions and credit unions would apparently rather keep for themselves. While past performance is not indicative of future results, a piece from 9to5Mac points out that the law firm behind the Apple Pay case has won e-book and developer antitrust cases against the Cupertino company. No comment from Apple for the CNET report. As the suit against Apple over mobile wallets heats up, so does an Apple Pay PR push. The Mac Observer says the Cupertino company has mounted an ad campaign highlighting Apple Pay's security and ease of use. Available on Apple's YouTube channel in the UK, so everywhere but geared for the UK. TMO says each short ad emphasizes that physical credit cards are able to be stolen, used by anyone, and leave your card number exposed to others. Additionally, the ads remind the audience that all of these issues are avoidable by using Apple Pay. According to the report, the first video focuses on the physical theft angle, the second highlights the stronger protections with Apple Pay tied to Face ID, and the third video addresses keeping card numbers secret and safe. The 3 videos run less than 30 seconds total. Seriously, we have spent more time on them here than one would spend watching them in a row. Still, you can see all 3 on YouTube. Again, though, it will take you longer to get to YouTube than you will spend watching the videos. It's one of the biggest Apple Watch activity challenges on the planet, and you probably can't do it. 9to5Mac has word of the National Fitness Day Challenge, marking the day of activity in China. Yes, it is a huge region with about 1/7 of the planet's population. Still probably a regional challenge, though that has not been officially announced by Apple. Based on the regional assumption, 9to5Mac says Apple Watch users in China can unlock a special activity award by completing at least 20 minutes of exercise on the 8th of August. As usual, folks can hit their goals either by using one of the built-in activities on Apple Watch or through a third-party app that shares info with Apple Health. Also, as usual, participants get a cool virtual medallion to mark the achievement, as well as animated stickers to be stuck in iMessage and FaceTime. And finally today, news of another Apple Music exclusive on the horizon. According to a piece from Apple Insider, Luke Combs' performance at Coyote Joe in his home state of North Carolina will stream exclusively as part of Apple Music Live and be available on demand beginning the 24th of August. Be on your best behavior, North Carolina. That is over 165 countries potentially peeping what you're doing. The Combs performance is the 4th live offering under the Apple Music Live banner. Those started back in May with a performance by Harry Styles. That was followed by a performance in June by rapper Lil Durk, and the Mary J. Blige show that was recorded live, but will not be available to stream until the end of July. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by SimpliSafe. Get a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring at simplisafe.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.